All right, we give praise, esteem, and honor to the Most High Yah by way of Yahushua HaMashiach this day. And search the scriptures, for in them you think you have eternal life, and they are they which testify of me. And you will not come to me that you might have life. I receive not honor from men, but I know you, that you have not the love of Elohim in you. I come in my Father's name, you receive me not. If another shall come in his own name, him you will receive. How can you believe which receive honor one of another, and seek not the honor that come from Elohim only? Since I mentioned it a fourth time, go over here 1 Thessalonians chapter 5 verse 3, and then get you Daniel chapter 8 just real quick, like before I come back to what we got to really deal with. I'm not finna spend an exorbitant amount of time with this here, man. But a dude really posted this because Donald Trump stood up and said it and said, oh, we ain't got much longer now. And people sharing it and stamping it, and they just good and stupid. 1 Thessalonians 5:1 though, just good and stupid. After this 1 Thessalonians, when we read that verse 1, we're going to swing to Matthew 24. It don't pay to be stupid. You know what I'm saying? That's trying to get you in trouble. He said, but of the times and the seasons, brethren, you have no need that I write unto you. Well, let me read verse 2. For yourselves know perfectly that the day of the master shall come as a thief in the night. Now come over here to Matthew chapter 24. He said you should know the times and the season. That man said you know them. I want you to understand that there. He said the times of the seasons, you don't have need that I even write to talk to you about this. Now, we hit one of these things last week. I guess we're going to swing back and hit it again and just to resonate it in your brain. But Matthew chapter 24, I want you to swing around here to probably about verse 25. Matter of fact, no. Verse 21. And we'll just reference the verses where some of this stuff is at, so you have a good idea. And it's going to really tie into the fact why you need to rebuild your house. So you can have a good idea of what you're supposed to be paying attention to. And if you don't see these things, then you know, oh, it's not time. Verse 21 says, well, the thing we didn't read in verse 15, it says, when you see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet, you know it's finna go down. So Donald Trump standing out there talking about peace and safety, it's not finna go down. That is not what that man told you. So you can cancel that. Pay attention to what he told you. Screw what niggas throwing out there because you see what's going on in the world. You supposed to know what he told you. That's what niggas get thrown off at, because you're not paying attention to what he told you. You going off on your own, or you're leaning on your own understanding, which he told you not to do. Harking back to what he told you. Now we in verse 21. He told you when you seen that, he told you to hit it. And then he tells you in verse 21, then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, nor ever shall be. Now this mentioned in Daniel chapter 12. But what's mentioned in Daniel chapter 12 with this time of trouble, it's already laying out to you what this son of perdition, or what the beast is going to be doing, and how he would get there. It's already been laid out. So when you see this man, as Paul told you in 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, that the son of perdition, the man of sin, the mystery of iniquity already worked, and this man is standing in the Kadesh place and declare himself to be God, then you know, boy, it's finna get ready to go down. Donald Trump ain't did that. Who has done that? No one has done that. So it's not time yet. Still got some time to go. And he said, except those days should be shortened, there shall no flesh be saved, but for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. Then if any man shall say unto you, lo, here is Mashiach, or there believe it not. For there shall arise false Mashiachs and false prophets, and shall show great signs and wonders, insomuch that it were possible they shall deceive the very elect. That taking you back to what he told you in Deuteronomy 13, that if there be a false prophet and a dreamer of dreams, and a prophecy or a wonder come to pass, that you supposed to stick to the word. You ain't supposed to go, I don't care if a nigga bring fire down from heaven. If he telling you to go against the word, then you know y'all ain't son him. Don't be gullible, because somebody can do something special. That's how people get got in the world. A nigga come up, a woman come up, a friend, whoever. You know what I'm saying? And they say stuff and they do stuff, and you get all enamored with it, but it's against the word. So you know he didn't send him. He ain't got nothing to do with him. He was testing you to see what you were going to do. That's what he told you in Deuteronomy 13. Let's look at Deuteronomy 13 school. That's how you supposed to know. You know what I'm saying? Is it going to pull you outside the path? If it's pulling you outside the path, then Yah ain't got nothing to do with it. Deuteronomy 13:1. If there arise among you a prophet or a dreamer of dreams, and they give thee a sign or a wonder, and the sign or the wonder come to pass, whereof he spake unto thee, saying, Let us go after other gods, which thou hast not known, and let us serve them, thou shalt not hearken unto the words of that prophet or that dreamer of dreams, for Yahuwah your Elohim prove you, to know whether you love Yahuwah your Elohim with all your heart and with all your soul. You shall walk after Yahuwah your Elohim and fear him, and keep his commandments, and obey his voice, and you shall serve him and cleave unto him. That's what you're supposed to look at in every single solitary situation that you come across, and every single solitary person that you come across. Anybody that will come and pull you away from Yah, talking about they doing this or they doing that, that man ain't son him. He proving you to see how much you love him. Do you know what I'm saying? Period. And that's all that false prophet gonna be doing when he bringing fire down from heaven and all this fancy smancy stuff these niggas gonna be pulling. That man told you to obey his voice. Faith come by hearing, and hearing come by the word. My sheep hear my voice and they follow me. If you hear the word, you don't care about what a nigga doing. Do you know what I'm saying? I don't care nothing about what you doing if what you doing is outside the word. I know y'all ain't got nothing to do with you. Get away from me, nigga. You know what I'm saying? I'm not following that. I'm not following that. That's why he say I've already told you. And we don't listen. We don't pay attention. Because you like to say, right now, don't get it twisted. Because it's a twofold thing. Yeah, you're supposed to look at somebody's actions to see if their actions line up with their words. But conversely, if somebody has actions that line up with the word, but yet their words are telling you to deviate from the word, then you know Yah hasn't son them. You have to be wise enough to know the difference between the two things that I just stated. Let me say it again. You have people whose actions are consistent with the word, and you will know that Yah is with them based on their actions being consistent with the word. On the flip side, you will have people whose actions seem to be consistent with the word, yet their words are telling you to depart from the living word. Which means their actions or actuality are not consistent with the word, but they're paralleling the word well enough to deceive you. And you're supposed to be paying attention if they're trying to pull you off the path. If somebody trying to pull you off the path, y'all ain't son of him and he ain't got nothing to do with them. And that's what he's trying to tell you, to watch out for those who work signs and wonders. That if it was possible, they would deceive the very elect. Because the law has already told you that you're supposed to cleave to the word. It's to try you to see if you love him or not. Don't let your love fail because you get in awe of what looks good to the eye, or what seems appealing, or what seems right, though it ain't right. Don't fall for that. You know what I'm saying? Where we at? Behold, I have told you before. Like I said, he already done told you. So he said you ain't got no reason or excuse to go for that. Wherefore shall say, I shall, if they shall say unto you, behold, he is in the desert, go not forth. Behold, he is in the secret chamber, believe it not. All right. He said if you in the secret chamber, if he say he in the desert, don't go around there. He said if he in the secret chamber, don't believe it. He said for lightning come out of the east and shine even unto the west, and so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. Now let's drop to verse 32, because I can't spend too much time on this here. Now learn a parable of the fig tree. When the branch is yet tender and put forth her leaves, ye know that summer is nigh. So likewise ye, when you shall see all these things, know that it is near, even at the doors. And then he just was talking about how the earth would look and all the signs in the heavens to bear witness to his return. So you supposed to know. You already know. He's already told you. So you ain't got no business falling for it. You ain't got no business falling for it. You know what I'm saying? Let's look at Daniel chapter 8. You ain't got no business falling for it when he already told you. Well, let's Zephaniah chapter 1 first. You ain't got no business falling for it when you already been told. I just told this chick that she writing talking about the Illuminati is based around the entertainment industry. I say, no, it's not, baby. I said, baby, what you talking about? You don't know what you talking about. Young lady didn't even know when the Illuminati was created and who created it and what it was created for. Niggas always screaming the whole Jay-Z and Beyonce and the Illuminati. You fool. Niggas can't even join the Scottish Rite Freemason Hall right now. A nigga can't go downtown off State Street and join that big old Scottish Rite Freemason Hall that behind that McDonald's. They can't even go join. Can't even go join. You know what I'm saying? See, nigga telling me about what they learned on a YouTube video. I'm trying to tell her what we learned from reading books. You know what I'm saying? Like actual real research, man. Not sitting in front of your phone or a laptop or a computer screen for 30 to 45 minutes for an hour for letting somebody compile some information. Nigga ain't even did no thorough research. You know what I'm saying? Because you got Scottish Rite Freemasonry, you got York Freemasonry. One called the red degree, one called the blue degree. That red degree, 33 degrees, that blue degree, 14 degrees. When you finish either one of them, you can become a Shriner. You know what I'm talking about? And most people who are Masons never become members of the Illuminati. Illuminati was started May 1st, 1776 by Adam Westphal, German teacher who wanted to destroy the book. That was his objective, was to destroy the scriptures, to cause them to be invalidated, that people would not regard them as the authoritative word of Elohim. That was his objective. And his objective was to infiltrate every form of government, education, science, finance to accomplish that goal. There was no quote-unquote entertainment industry at the creation of the Illuminati in 1776. The entertainment industry plays such a small role in what the people got going on. Yeah, it plays a role because it influences people, but at the same token, they influence you more through government and school than the entertainment industry could dare do, and religion. Because these are three things. See, a lot of people may not listen to particular genres of music, may not even watch television, but everybody goes to school. And most people deal with some manner of religion. And they hit you with that way harder to influence that. Most of y'all know in these colleges, they teach you to go against the scriptures daily. They teach against God daily. They doing the work that Jay-Z could never think about doing, that Beyonce could never think about doing, that Kanye West could never think about doing. These niggas so dumb that they think everybody's in on the plot. Everybody's not in. It's not a secret society and plot if everybody knows it. See, the internet was a good thing and it was a bad thing at the same time. It was a good thing because it allows you to find information that you're ready at any given time and anywhere. It was a bad thing because it gave people who are intellectually retarded a platform to put out any manner of information that they saw fit to put out. You know what I'm saying? And if you cater to a particular people that has a particular perspective, then they will take your information and run with it as if it is fact. Niggas do it every day. Every day. Do it every day. I did with Klein about this here, man, because this is real, right? Chick right here talking about this is the land because corn is indigenous to America, and how does the scriptures got something to writing about corn, and corn is not in the Middle East. First of all, who told you corn was only in America? Did a white man tell you that? Who told you that? You ain't got enough common sense to know as people branched out that they may have took seeds and crops with them on their journeys and planted where they went. Then on top of that, when you look the word up in the book of what corn is, it's not even corn in the contemporary sense. It's just a grain or a wheat. That's how dumb niggas is. And niggas put that out there as if that's fact. See, it says corn. Somebody has to explain to me, corn is only indigenous to America. No, you did not do thorough enough research and gathering information before you put your hypothesis out there. Now you made yourself look stupid. You know what I'm saying? And that's only took you, all you had to do would take 5 minutes. 5 minutes and you wouldn't have made yourself look like a complete and utter idiot. You know what I'm saying? And people do this stuff all the time. I was talking to my man, I say, man, these niggas be posting themselves, parsing these verses. If you don't know what that means, that's the translator verse by using biblical Hebrew and certain grammar things that you got to do, you know, conjugating verbs and all of the other good old stuff, you know what I'm saying? And when these dudes translate these verses, they say the exact same thing that the English translation said. So I'll be like, what was the point of this? And that's what we caught up in right now, is everybody wants to make themselves seem so smart. You know what I'm saying? So smart. You know what I'm talking about? So smart, try to make everything seem like it was so deep. And I'm like, my nigga, what's the point? How is this going to help a nigga who dealing with lust? How's this gonna help a nigga who got an anger problem? How's this gonna help a nigga who's sinning? How's this gonna help me change my financial situation? How did I get a benefit or profit from you parsing this verse, my nigga? I feel like you just a smarty art, nigga. You trying to throw this in my face to make me feel inferior, to make yourself, because of your so low self-esteem, seem intellectually superior. But I know you weak, nigga, and I ain't going for it. Keep that cornball stuff to yourself. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm not impressed. Then when you're not impressed, they try to mock you for it. Well, mock me then, my nigga. What school did the prophets go to? I ain't see them niggas parsing nothing. I seen them drop them words for wicked niggas like you. You know what I'm saying? I don't understand these people, man. Let me continue on, man. I go on for days. Zephaniah 1:14. I just don't understand it. It says, the great day of Yahuwah is near. It is near. It hastes greatly. Even the voice of the day of Yahuwah. The mighty man shall cry very bitterly. Remember, 1 Thessalonians chapter 4 says Yahuwah shall, or the master shall return with a shout. The same thing that it says in Isaiah when that great trumpet shall be blown. So you have to understand this here, and that's what it was we were looking at in verse 7. Remember we were talking about when the massacre of the Baal worshippers, how Yahuwah went in there and gave them garments, and they had on that strange apparel, because these are strange worshippers. That's not going on right now. When it goes down, everybody either be worshiping Yah or worshiping the beast. It ain't gonna be no you a Buddhist and you a Muslim and you New Age spiritual and you a Christian. You either serving the beast or you serving Yah. You either down with the beast, you either down with the devil, or you down with Elohim. Ain't no in between. Ain't no I'm off over here doing my own thing. That's what you got to know and understand. You know what I'm saying? That's what you got to know and understand. You know what I'm saying? I got talking to a man yesterday, man. I'm like, for real, like, a lot of this stuff that these people be doing. I'm talking about even the people you are around on a daily basis. Is that real to you? Is the stuff that niggas be doing, is that real to you? Is that real authentic stuff they pulling? Is that a real person to you? Are those real people moves? Not real nigga moves, real people moves. Is that what a real authentic person does? And a lot of people you around, they not real. That's not true and authentic. They're not being true to anything. They're being true to what's convenient to them at that particular time, or what they think is cool at that particular time. Most of these people out here are lame because they don't love themselves. They don't believe in themselves. So they're trying to be what they feel society is telling them to be. And you sitting around kicking it with dudes like, oh yeah, that's a real dude. That nigga flawed. And you need to look at yourself. And then we sit around, it's too many niggas vouching for suckers, and there's too many niggas condoning sucker stuff, and you know what I'm talking about? And then get mad when somebody call them out for it. You know what I'm saying? How you gonna be a real dude vouching for a sucker? That's like you saying you a street dude vouching for a snitch. Can't vouch for no snitch. You know what I'm saying? How is that possible? And that's what we turn around and do. We saying we righteous, vouching for wicked people. That's why he went off on Jehoshaphat. He said, how can you love those that hate Yah? Where that come in at? Where that work at? Where they do that at? You can't vouch for no sinner and you say you godly? Doesn't make any sense. Daniel chapter 8 though. Let me get off this topic, man. Get it what we got to do. Let me leave that alone. Let me get off this, leave this alone. Daniel 8:24. Make it 8:23. I'm tell you what, real man. I be tripping off these niggas, man. These niggas be having me dying laughing. Like, you niggas extra lame. You know what I'm saying? Dude just be going hard with stuff, man. Nigga, I'm not impressed. You know what I'm saying? I'm not impressed. And in the latter time of their kingdom, when the transgressors are come to the full. Remember what he told you out there? It's in the line. I can't recall where it's at. He said the iniquity of the Amorites have not yet come to the full. Remember what he told you? He's like this here when he told you Babylon in Revelation 18 that her sins have reached up under the Shamahim, and he called them to remembrance. See, the transgressions have not come to the full or to their completion. Listen what he tell you what they're going to do after that. A king of a fierce countenance and understanding dark sentences shall stand up, and his power shall be mighty, but not by his own power. And he shall destroy wonderfully, and shall prosper and practice, and shall destroy the mighty and the Kadesh people. Don't be no fool and think because the police killing you in the street is him killing the Kadesh people, because it's not. Because you're not Kadesh. If you in sin, you're not the set apart people. You're not a strong people. You're of that stock. These dudes scream, it's Jacob's trouble. They killing us in the street. Was it Jacob's trouble when they was lynching you, nigga? No. That was chastised. Did he not say in Ezekiel chapter 5, a third of you are for the sword, a third of you are for the famine, a third of you are for pestilence? Unfortunately and sadly, when our people get gunned down in the street, but that's that Ezekiel, man, 30 of you for the sword. Some of y'all got to die. Did he not tell you in the law, if you transgress against him, that you go contrary to him, he'll be contrary to you, and that if you won't repent, he'll punish you 7 more times for your sins? We forget these things, that a lot of times when we see things happen to people, it's very well punishment for their sins. That's why when Obadiah was told to go holler at the king, he told Elijah, he said, have you called my sin to remembrance? Because you sending me in front of the person. That's what his mind was. That's what his mind was thinking about. Because we don't sit there and think about that when certain things happen to people in these streets, man, that their sin could have been called to remembrance. And now their judgment is being executed. We don't think about that because you're so far removed. It doesn't justify the wicked people who kill our people, by no means. Let that be known. It doesn't justify them. But we don't think about that. No difference if it's black on black crime. You don't think about that. Somebody could be receiving the judgment for their sins. You don't think about that. You don't think about somebody dying from cancer or dying from a heart attack or dying from whatever, that they could be receiving judgment for their transgressions. And then sometimes people just die. It's just your time to go. And that's just how you leaving here. You know what I'm saying? It's always it's not always, it's judgment, true indeed, when you die. You know what I'm saying? But sometimes it could just be, it's time for you to die. We're going to holler at you, baby. It's time for you to go. But look at the key thing of what he said in Daniel 8. He would understand dark sentences. What dark sentences did Donald Trump drop when he said, 1 Thessalonians 5, when he said the word? He ain't dropped no dark sentence. Pray the Lamb. Come to 2 Corinthians chapter 11 first. Praise y'all. 2 Corinthians 11. 11 and 13. So with this man being able to understand dark sentences, he's going to be able to try to manifest himself as being Yahusha or being the Mashiach. Of course, he's not going to say he's Yahusha, so to speak. He's going to say that he is the anointed one. So he say, for such are false apostles, deceitful workers, transforming themselves into the apostle of Mashiach. And no marvel, for Hashatan himself is transformed into a Malachim of light. Therefore it is no great thing if his ministers also be transformed as the ministers of righteousness, whose end shall be according to their works. Now we didn't read the verse in Daniel where it say he shall be broken by the prince of princes, and he shall be broken without hand. But him having these understanding of dark sentences, he is going to manifest himself as he is an apostle. Because hold on, Hebrew chapter 3 verse 1. Just so you can understand this here, because Yahusha is called an apostle. So he's going to manifest himself as if Elohim is teaching him himself. At the same token, he's going to be manifesting these dark sentences in order to deceive the people to follow him. And that's when he will come screaming peace and safety. Not no Donald J. Trump. You know what I'm saying? Not no Donald J. Trump. Donald J. Trump ain't going to do it. He's not the one. You know what I'm saying? And also a thing where we didn't look at, just because that's not what we had to deal with tonight. In Daniel chapter 11, he tell you that he will reject the God of his fathers. So the likelihood of this man being an Israelite is very, 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 very high. Pretty much a foregone conclusion. Foregone conclusion. You know what I'm saying? The beast is going to look like you. You are not going to if you know you the children of the book, you're not listening to no white man. I can tell you that now. Ain't no black people finna be around here talking about listening to no book, talking about this cracker, talking about he God. You not going for that. You gotta think you're not going for that. If an Oriental and Asian pop up, I'm God. You not going for that. You not going for that. An African might could get you. You ain't going for no Arab telling you that either. But somebody whose skin tone look like yours, he's standing up like he got your concern in play, trying to quiet down these people who've been doing this to you and doing that to you. The whole time his plan was to kill you. You'll peep the play. At the end of the day, you got to look at Ahab. Ahab was sitting back, watching his wife sit back and massacre his own people, and he was complicit. He was right along with it. He was right along with it. And I'm forgetting the king that escaped my brain right now, who was complicit on killing prophets. I think we're going to end up getting to him in a minute. Even Saul did it. Do you know what I'm saying? So don't think that an Israelite wouldn't kill his own people for the purpose of him having power and solidifying his stance. Do not be naive. Don't be naive. Hebrews 3:1. Wherefore, Kadesh, brethren, partakers of the heavenly calling, consider the apostle and high priest of our profession, Yahushua HaMashiach. So consider that if Mashiach is an apostle, Yahushua is an apostle, and the beast understanding dark sentences, he is going to try to transform himself into an apostle and deceive the people. Donald J. Trump ain't pulling that off. He's not pulling that off. Ain't no white man can pull that off. Come on to Psalms 147:19, I mentioned, so you can see it for yourself. Then Romans chapter 3. Then we finish 1 Thessalonians chapter 5 and hit this 2 Chronicles 24. 30 minutes about it, just as long enough I could spend on that. At least for the night anyway. We have to bring that stuff back to your remembrance eventually anyhow. We did all this stuff last year. Psalm 147:19. This is what he did, right? He showed his word unto Jacob, his statutes and his judgments unto Yasharal. He have not dealt so with any nation, and as for his judgments, they have not known them. Hallelujah. They haven't known them. So ain't no way he could spit it. Gotta pay attention. Always this here, man. Everything has to line up with the text when we look at certain things, especially dealing with the end. So when you're looking at the end, it's got to match. If it don't match, then you know that's not what you ought to be paying attention to. There's nothing wrong with being aware. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying not be cognizant of current events and cognizant of your surroundings and what's going on around you. But in the context of the end, don't jump after any and everything you see. And say, oh, it's the end, it's the end, it's the end, it's the end, it's the end. Oh, war, war, war. Yo, you ready for war? We going to war, we going to war, we going to war. He told you there would be wars and rumors of wars. He told you that. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, America plays a very, 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 very minuscule role in the grand scheme of the plan of Elohim in the end. A very, very small role. Very, very small role. Very, very, very small role. One of the key components that you probably didn't catch is that he said if they said Mashiach is in the desert. And the reason why he stated that is because in Revelation chapter 3, it tells you where Satan's seat is. I guess we'll sit back and look at that. Because there's some people who believe that America is the land. That's the dumbest thing you have got to understand, because there's no deserts here. Except in Nevada, California, Mexico, possibly New Mexico, possibly Utah, and Arizona. All the deserts in this country are on the western side of the country, on the west coast, for the most part. There's no deserts in Florida. There's no deserts in New York State. There's no deserts in Mississippi. There's no deserts in Tennessee. There's no deserts in Michigan. There's no deserts in Arkansas. No deserts in VA and Maryland. There's no deserts in North and South Carolina. There's no deserts in Kentucky. You know what I'm saying? Like, how dumb can niggas be? But when you throw information out there, that junk like this, it sounds plausible. People go for it instead of critically thinking. All you got to do is just critically think. All you got to do is, okay, I know it don't necessarily fit, but this is one of my favorite records from the time I heard it. But on Politics as Usual, right? That nigga Jay say, you know, he took his jewels to. Took the money that he made to Tito in the district. Say he blessed me with some VS, something I could live with. He said, no disrespecting you. He said, I had to get these jewels of praise. No disrespecting you. I had to make sure your word was true. That is, if a man or woman takes it as disrespect that you went back to validate their claims, then you already know they sour. If I told you, if I gave you some information and I told you something, and you went back behind me to verify it, if it was true, I would not take that as disrespect. I would take that as you're a responsible man or woman that you just not going to believe something just because somebody told it to you. Whether you thought they were going to lie to you or not. That you were going to take the time and verify that that was correct. I have seen men be offended because people double check behind them to see if what they said was correct. I don't see anything offensive about it. Me personally, you know what I'm saying? Everybody's different. I'm not going to be mad at you because you say, you know what? I researched what you told me, man, and I seen that to be correct. I'm going to look at, shoot, my nigga, I feel you. I'm going to be like, shoot, boy, I told you, boy, what up? Did you find something else? Shoot, because you might be able to tell me something I missed. You know what I'm saying? That's how we was raised, each one teach one, because you might catch something I ain't catch. You know what I'm saying? I never was on that just because when coming up, the mind frame was everybody make money. Because if everybody makes money, everybody's happy. And everybody's equal. And nobody's sitting back looking at, I can dominate you, or if I fall down, you can pick me up. And it's supposed to be the same way with knowledge. You're not supposed to hold knowledge. If you got it, you give it. Because then that makes your brother strong. You know what I'm saying? Which means that something that you lacking in, he can lift you up. And see, niggas don't think that way because niggas want to be the man. And coming up, I was always around dudes, but they were still like, I prefer to be around women a little bit more than men. Of course, obviously, it's a woman who wants to be around dudes all the time. But as you get older, at least for me, the wanting to be around dudes all the time, that junk going down because niggas be hating. You know what I'm saying? A lot. And they really be want to try to come for you and cut your neck and take your spot. And 9 times out of 10, a woman's not going to do that. 9 times out of 10, she's going to assist you to help you to win. You know what I'm saying? Dudes have a desire to, I want to. That's why people say why we can't come together, because dudes desire to be seen as the smartest dude, the most righteous dude, the most spiritual dude, the most knowledgeable or wise or understanding dude. They in competition with other dudes. You know what I'm saying? That's why dudes say I'm the chief priest and I'm taking all these titles and this, that, there, and the third, because they forget what the man said. You are all brethren. So then when he say you are all brethren, then they sit back and look at, they want to feel like, oh, I'm sent. I want to go do this. I want to go do that. I want to preach this. I want to teach that. You know what I'm saying? And then it ends up coming down to, it's no longer about the service to the people. Now it's become about you. And now the people suffer because you ain't trying to put your man on. Then sometimes you can put dudes on and they resent you and they hate you for it. And you don't say they want to take you down and you put them on. But you know, it is what it is. What it is, Romans 3. What advantage have then have the Yahudim, or what profit is there of the circumcision? Much every way, chiefly because unto them were committed the oracles of Elohim. So keep that in mind. You got to keep that in mind. White man can't raise up and do that. White man can't raise up and do that. Let's finish it 1 Thessalonians chapter 5 and then deal with the matter at hand. When I seen that this afternoon, man, I say, boy, that nigga here crazy. I say, but then again, I don't expect nothing less. I don't expect nothing less. I don't expect nothing less. First Thessalonians 5 and 3. For when they shall say shalom and safety, then sudden destruction shall come upon them, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. See, this talking about the end, and they trying to make it seem like it's dealing with the destruction of America, and it's talking about the end. Not America, the end. The end. The end. You got to always pay attention to context of what's being said and what's being spoken about, and then you won't take verses and misapply them to situations. 2 Chronicles chapter 24, moving right along. Well, let's go to 2 Kings 12 because my book opens straight to that. So we'll just do that instead. 2 Kings chapter 12. And we'll look at verse 5. And I'll deal with the Yah willing on tomorrow with Yahweh and Joash and their relation to one another. Kind of want to get this particular point in and out of the way. Verse 5. Let the priest take it to them. Well, let's verse 4. Joash said to the priest, all the money of the dedicated things that is brought into the house of Yahuwah, even the money every one that passed the account, the money that every man is set at, and all the money that come into any man's heart to bring into the house of Yahuwah, let the priest take it to them, every man of his acquaintance, and let them repair the breaches of the house, wheresoever any breach shall be found. He said, let them repair the breaches of the house. So let's look at that. 12. Oh, a little too low there. When we look at this word breach, that word is badak, and it's a fissure or a rent or a breach or a leak in the building or a gap. There's a gap. So come over to Isaiah 59 and we look at where there's a gap. He say anywhere where there's a gap found, they need to repair it. Pull the word for repair. That's what the other one is looking for. That word for repair in this particular verse is kazak, and it's to strengthen, to prevail, to be strong, to make strong, to make firm, to support, to hold strongly with, and to strengthen oneself. So basically, he's telling these priests that any gap needs to be made strong. Now let's take that into account, and that we can begin to look at this a little differently. Isaiah chapter 59. Isaiah 59. Where's that verse at, man? I gotta pick it up at verse 12. Isaiah 59 and 12. But I just have a feeling that is not the verse that I desire. Isaiah 59 and 12. And it wasn't. But we'll use that and then go to Ezekiel 22. He's saying, verse 12, for our transgressions are multiplied before thee, and our sins testify against us. For our transgressions are with us, and as for our iniquities, we know them. And transgression and lying against Yahuwah, and departing from our Elohim, away from our Elohim, speaking oppression and revolt, conceiving and uttering from the heart words of falsehood. All these are breaches. All these things got to be strengthened. And we kind of talked about that in Ephesians chapter 4 on Wednesday. And judgment is turned away backwards, and justice standeth far off. For truth is fallen in the street, and equity cannot enter. Yea, truth fail, and he that depart from evil maketh himself a prey. And Yahuwah saw it, and it displeased him that there was no judgment. And he saw that there was no man, and wondered that there was no intercessor. And therefore his arm brought salvation unto him, and his righteousness it sustained him. There was nobody to cover that gap or to close that breach, to close that up. He wondering what's going on. There's no man, there's no intercessor to repair that breach. This is what he said. Let's go to Ezekiel 22 and 27. After Ezekiel 22 and 27, swing to Hebrews chapter 7. Notice that he said he sent the priest to do it. Before we get to Hebrews 7, we go to John 13. But we hit this Ezekiel 22 first, though. 22 and 27. He said, her princes in the midst thereof are like wolves, ravening the prey to shed blood and destroy souls to get dishonest gain. And her prophets have daubed them with untempered mortar, seeing vanity and divining lies unto them, saying, thus saith Yahuwah Elohim, when Yahuwah have not spoken. The people of the land have used oppression and exercised robbery, and have vexed the poor and needy. Yea, they have oppressed the stranger wrongfully, and I sought for a man among them that should make up the hedge and stand in the gap before me for the land, that I should not destroy it, but I found none. There needed to be somebody to stand in the gap to repair that breach. He said he couldn't find one. You know, if Solomon told you in the 7th chapter of Ecclesiastes that he say out of 1,000 men he found none, and out of a woman he found none, it forfeits somebody to stand upright and stand in that gap to repair this breach. But let's look at John chapter 13 and begin to look at the man that he sent to repair this breach, to bring us back to Elohim. And then to repair the breach is to make you strong, so that he that is weak may say that he's strong. After we read this John chapter 13, we're going to swing to Zechariah chapter 4. John 13 and 16. John 13 and 16. All right. Truly, truly, I say unto you, the servant is not greater than his master, neither is he greater than he that sent him. And if you know these things, baruched are ye if you do them. He said, I speak not of you all, I know whom I have chosen, but that the scripture may be fulfilled, he that eat bread with me have lifted up his heel against me. Now I tell you before it come, that when it is come to pass, you may believe that I am he. Truly, truly, I say unto you, he that receive whomsoever I send, receive me. And he that received me, received him that sent me. Now, when we look at him sending someone, and it's mentioned in Isaiah 52, I guess we could get it. We talked about it the other day. Let's get this Isaiah 52 first, before I get to Zechariah chapter 4. And it's quoted in Romans 10, when he as he begins to discuss a particular thing. Isaiah 52 and 7. And he says, how beautiful upon the mountains are the feet of him that bring good tidings, that publish shalom, that bring good tidings of good, that publish salvation, that saith unto Zion, thy Elohim reign. When you publish Yahushua HaMashiach, before we get to Zechariah 4, let's look at 2 Corinthians chapter 5. Publishing Yahushua HaMashiach is publishing shalom. You know that shalom is to destroy the authority attached to chaos. You're publishing the destruction of sin and death, which is a good thing for you to hear. I would think that all of us knowing that we know we can avoid death, that is something good that you would want to hear. That you would take that as good tidings. You know what I'm saying? A word spoken in due season that would strengthen the soul. So, choose my words correctly. When you publish in salvation, you know, it tells you in Psalm 68, Yahuwah gave the word, great is the company of those that published it. Which is taking us back to when we looked at Mashiach being an apostle, because he published the word. Let me see what that word for publish is real quick. Like, that's just in my mind. Let's see what it is. Because if you're publishing shalom, that word is shama, and it's to hear, to listen, to obey, and to understand, and to give heed or to be obedient. So when you're publishing shalom, that's lining up with why Paul used that in Romans 10 about faith come by hearing and hearing come by the word. Because the just shall live by their faith. So they're publishing faith in the word. You know what I'm saying? I told y'all the other day, and that's Luke 17 and 21 if I'm not mistaken. I can't recall what I just said we were going there. That's Luke. It's Luke 17 and 20. That the kingdom of Elohim not come up with observation. Not it's not low there, but it was within you. And that's that heart of faith that exists within you. You know what I'm saying? I was telling Will the other day, there's a difference between no faith and weak faith. There's a difference. We talked about that last week too. There's a difference. There is a difference. Weak faith can be strengthened, which is the purpose of him telling you to repair the breach or repair what's keeping you separated from Elohim. You know what I'm saying? This is what Hamashiach told Peter. He said, when you are converted, strengthen your brethren. That's why he say, let the weak say, I am strong. You know what I'm saying? How are you going to be strong? You're going to be made strong for the person who strengthened you. Hold on. I can't recall. Well, I just said we were going at. Man, I done forgot that fast, man. I'm getting way too old. Mine is going bad. Bad. So let's hit the Zechariah chapter 4. Y'all willing to come back. Zechariah 4 and 6. And after that, Joel chapter 3. See, remember in Ecclesiastes to tell you where the word of the king is, there is power. So your strength lies in the word, i.e. in Yahushua HaMashiach. That's where your strength lies. That's what's going to repair the breach. That's why he's sending the priest. That's why that lines up what we talking about whoever being sent, because Joash sent the priest to repair the breaches. So the priest was sent to strengthen the people. And we're going to see this as he sends these particular people to build the house. Their job is to strengthen the people with the word that they might be saved. You know what I'm saying? Or to rebuild this house. Zechariah 4 and 6. Then he answered and spake unto me, saying, This is the word of Yahuwah unto Zerubbabel, saying, Not by might, nor by power, but by my Ruach, saith Yahuwah of hosts. And that's what you got to understand. It's not going to be by anything other but the power of Elohim, the power of his Ruach, which will allow you to overcome in anything. That's it. You sitting back and you trying to overcome. You trying to do it by your own strength. You trying to do it by your own power. You trying to do it by your own understanding instead of leaning on the Ruach of Elohim, which is the power of Elohim. And this is where your strength will emanate from. That's what it will. Pray the Lamb. 2 Corinthians chapter 5. He bring it back. Praise God. He bring it back. Anybody who he sent, you're an ambassador. And there was another point that I wanted to hit Wednesday that I didn't hit, and it was about counting the price, counting the cost. And we'll get around to that, most high willing. 2 Corinthians 5, right? 2 Corinthians 5 and 17. And we talked about this about him renewing the house. You are supposed to become new. I told y'all before, man, and I know a lot of people say it, you know, and it's true. You know, you need to build people up, and that's true. But before you can build somebody up, things have to be destroyed first. Because at the end of the day, you'll be building a house on a faulty foundation, and that house will fall. You know what I'm saying? You can't build something up without tearing down the existing structure. You cannot become a son or daughter of Elohim without destroying the existing structure, which is the carnal nature, and disposing of it. Upon that disposition, then you can begin to be built. But if you seek to be built upon the same carnal ways, doings, and thoughts, now you got a mixed garment, because now you're trying to mix wool and linen. And we know linen is the righteousness of the saints, which is the faith of Elohim. You can't mix spiritual with carnal. You can't mix it. We know wool comes from the sheep. So that's carnal. That's a beast. You can't take which is of a beast and mix it with Elohim. He say that is of the flesh is flesh, and that which is of the Ruach is Ruach. Marvel not that you must be born again. Those that are in the flesh cannot please Elohim. So you can't put on wool and linen. You're going to have to put on. Job say, I put on my righteousness as a robe.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? So he told you in the 23rd chapter of Job, I put on righteousness as a robe. Revelation 19 tell you that they had on fine linen. That is the righteousness of the Kadeshim. We trying to put linen and wool on together at the same time and wondering why you itching. Because these two things don't go together. Ruach and flesh don't go together. So you can't mix them. Building and destroying, they go together, because in order to build, you got to destroy. So that's the key thing. In order to build, you have to destroy. See, you can destroy and not build. Some people come with the purpose of destruction and not build. See, one thing, like if you whoop your children, but then you told them why you whooped them and what the purpose of you whooping them was for. Because then that wasn't just a destruction for the purpose of destruction. It was the purpose of building so that they could learn from their mistakes and to not commit that same behavior again so they wouldn't get that negative reinforcement. When Yah bust you upside your head, he told you why he bust you upside your head. He just didn't destroy Yasharal. Because you're going to sit back what he did to our people. Look what he did to our people before we came into the land. He destroyed and then he built. He destroyed Mizraim and then he built us in the land. That's what he did. That's what he did. And you know what ended up happening with our people? Because he didn't destroy their faulty foundation themselves. He just came and tried to build them up off the rip in the wilderness. They bucked. They bucked. He didn't take the time to say, you know what, I'm going to destroy everything that they know, everything that they thought, and strip them. He said, I'm going to do it to the Egyptians. And when they see that, then quite naturally they'll follow. But instead, it was the opposite. I guarantee the Egyptians probably would have listened after the destruction they took upside their head. They'd have been ready to be built up. They'd have been ready. He destroyed them for the purpose of destroying. But when he came and started busting Yasharal up upside their head to destroy us, it was for the purpose to build us up, because he was telling us why he was doing it and then what we needed to do to get up out of that situation. And that's the difference. Somebody busting you upside your head, but then they not giving you nothing to how to make yourself better or tell you to make yourself better. They're not trying to build you up. Somebody that's just trying to build you up and not destroy any of the faulty stuff around it, it's just blowing smoke up your butt. And that's flattery. That's words smooth like butter, like the book say, got an oil tongue, butter mouth. They're just trying to grease you up to get whatever it is that they want from you. And they really don't care nothing about you. You know what I'm saying? Y'all care something about you. He gonna tell you about yourself, and he gonna tear down everything you got going on so that he can make you in a better than existing structure. 2 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 17. He said, therefore, if any man be in Mashiach, he is a new creature. Old things are passed away. Behold, all things are become new. So in order, and that comes into dealing with you being immersed. That immersion was the destruction of the carnal mind and body. So you could be new or renewed or to destruct. They had to tore up the old house, so we need to repair it and make it new and make it stronger. Which is taking us back to the old and new covenant. I got to make you strong. I got something that wasn't strong. I got to make it new, make it stronger. I got to repair it. We'll get to that too. Y'all willing. And all things are of Elohim, who have reconciled us to himself by Yahushua HaMashiach, and have given us the ministry of reconciliation. To wit, that Elohim was in Mashiach, reconciling the world unto himself, not imputing their trespasses unto them, and have committed unto us the word of reconciliation. Now then, we are ambassadors for Mashiach, as though Elohim did beseech you by us. We pray you in Mashiach's stead, be ye reconciled to Elohim. Return. Now you got somebody in the gap. They in the gap. They in that spot where you separated to bring you back in. That's what the body of Mashiach wore. He stood in the gap to make you stronger. Stronger by him. Let's go to Joel chapter 3. The question being is, do you want to be made strong or do you want to remain the same? The book say, I'm a companion of all those that fear thee. Everybody don't fear y'all. And as time go by, it gets showed out. It gets showed now. We just want Joel chapter 3, verse 10. And after that, we go to Romans 15. Beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears, and let the weak say, I am strong. 2 Corinthians 12 tell you, he said, my strength is made perfect in weakness. That's where his strength is made perfect at. And I told you before, most dudes don't want to they don't want to be in a position of weakness because of the quote-unquote alpha male mentality that you can't never be seen to be weak. So you don't want to esteem in the infirmities of Elohim. And that's why a lot of dudes don't want to accept Yahushua as being the anointed one, because he was in positions of weakness, of which most of these fake gangsters and thugs despise. Because they thinking, oh man, ain't nobody finna do this to me or do that to me or do that to me. But not knowing that that's the esteem of Elohim resting upon your head, because all the prophets that came before him were treated in this fashion. They were treated in this fashion. They were treated very badly. They were spoke about very badly. They were done badly. You sit back and look at Moses. All the stuff Moses had to go through to have a dude rise up and speak ill of him and try to overtake it. Because they felt like we could do a better job than you. And then when Yah killed them people, the people blamed Moses and said Moses killed them. Do you know what I'm saying? That's what he had to deal with. That's what he had to deal with. He had done nothing other than suffer the manners of a rebellious, stiff-necked people. And that's what he got in return. Elijah got somebody out to kill him. All he was doing was being zealous for the word. That's it. Go on down the line and look at how these men got done. Stoned, disrespected, locked up, turned on. And niggas be ready to run out there talking about they want to do that. Don't have the heart to deal with that. You know what I'm saying? Just weak, insecure men that feel the need that if they put themselves in a position to preach the word, it can prop up their insecurities and cover up all the stuff they got going on to make themselves feel like they somebody. But in actuality, in reality, they care nothing for the people, nor have the heart or the testicular fortitude to deal with any of the things that's going to come their way. You know what I'm saying? And going to sell everybody out. Because most of these niggas ain't trying to go to that booty house for the word or not. Most of them, you know, it's a lot of niggas, man, got buy a lot of, I done seen this in the street. Buy a lot of guns, buy a lot of ammo, but when they go down, nigga ain't gonna bust a grape in the fruit factory. Nigga ain't gonna pull the trigger. Nigga gonna freeze up. You know what I'm saying? I don't care how many guns you buy. I don't care how much you go to the range. I don't care how much you shoot in the backyard. But it's a whole nother thing when it's live ammunition. Or when you see the man standing next to you, brains on the ground. You know what I'm saying? When you see that lead tearing through hot flesh, tearing through flesh. Nigga freeze up. Boy, I done seen nigga grab and freeze up. Because it's different when you in the backyard or at the range. Ain't nobody shooting at you. You know what I'm saying? So it's real easy to say, yeah, boy, bop, 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 bop. It's real easy to do that. Ain't nobody shooting at you. When niggas shooting at you, it's one or two things going to happen. You're going to hit survival mode, meaning you're going to protect those that are around you. First, I hope, if there's anybody around you, that it would click in your brain that, oh, I got to protect them, so I'm going to kill whoever's standing right here, or you're going to freeze. Or you're going to freeze. That's why I say he ain't give us the ruach of fear. There's a lot of niggas, they going to be paralyzed with fear. I'm talking about, it's not a pretty sight to see a man get shot. You know what I'm talking about? No matter where he gets shot at. It's not a pretty sight. You know what I'm saying? How are you going to react when live ammunition is coming at you and somebody trying to kill you? What you going to do? Well, most niggas going to pee on themselves. You know what I'm saying? Sit there shaking. Oh, man. Oh, man. I done seen niggas say, I seen a nigga, there's no lie, man. I was there. I ain't tell you what a nigga told me. I was there. Nigga came through, banging at him. Nigga was going through something. That nigga told our other homeboy, go get the guns. Nigga said, you got a house full of guns. How you gonna tell a nigga go get some guns? And I knew that for a fact because I was living with a nigga. It's about 5 to 7 guns in this house. So I know that you gonna tell a nigga, if it go down, you could have had that pistol in your hand and you wasn't gonna pull the trigger. It been situations where nigga done got shot at and niggas had guns on them and didn't pull their pistol out. Hello? Hello? Yeah, man. That's real. You know what I'm saying? That's real. That's real, man. When it go down, man, you going to protect your wife. You going to protect your children. You going to protect your brother. You going to protect your sister. You going to be willing to take a bullet for them? Because most of these niggas ain't going to take a bullet for nobody. They going to try to say themselves. They going to leave you right there. Because a nigga scared to die. Nigga, if a nigga know he going to hell, but that nigga ain't trying to take no bullet for you. Who finna die and go to hell? They know they going to hell. You think they gonna die for you? Smoking rocks if you think they is. What I needed, man. Hebrew chapter 7. He told them to intercede on their behalf. Niggas ain't trying to take no bullet for nobody. That man say, greater love had no man in this, that a man lay his life down for his friend. You'll die for somebody you love. I don't care what capacity they serve in your life. If you love them, you'll die for them. You won't even have to think about it. You might sit around periodically and think about situations and circumstances where you'll be willing to lay your life down for certain people. If it come down to it. Some of these niggas so flawed that they'll be down with a nigga and a nigga die and they won't even do nothing for the man kids when they go. You know what I'm saying? Won't even do nothing for them. You got some dudes out here that I know that do that. That man, nigga die, but they take them kids like they theirs, man. You got some nigga die, them kids don't see them niggas no more. Boy, that was Uncle such and such the whole time they daddy was alive. Daddy died, boy, them bastard children for all they concerned. You know, ain't how we roll. Not at least in our culture. Niggas always talking about Hebrew culture, but they don't be talking about how dudes really live and treated each other though. Hebrews 7:21. He said, for those priests were made without an oath, but this with an oath, by him that said unto him, Yahuwah swear and will not repent, that thou art a priest forever after the order of Melchizedek. But so much was Yahushua made a surety of a better testament. Remember, better testament, got to repair the breach, got to make the house stronger. First testament didn't have you strong. That it was weak through the flesh. But he said, but Elohim sending his son through the likeness of sinful flesh, destroyed sin in the flesh, that you might live unto the righteousness of Elohim. Strengthen the breach. Repair that breach. Make it powerful so you can prevail. We read that Wednesday. He said, little children, you've overcome the wicked one. He said, you have no need for me to write unto you. That man say, be of good cheer. I've overcome the world. Who is he that overcome the world? But he that believed that Yahushua is the son of Elohim. You know what I'm saying? This is the victory, even our faith. This is where your power resides. This is how you can be able to be made strong, because the breach has been repaired. He has made you strong through his blood and through his body. All you got to do is be a partaker of both, and you can have the strength and overcome right along with him. And that's when he say, those that publish salvation, they're preaching the word of faith that you may hear. That you might hear the shalom of Yahushua HaMashiach, preaching shalom to those that are near or far of the gospel of Yahushua, like Peter told them in the book of Acts. That your soul might be saved. That's publishing salvation. And matter of fact, now that I think about it, Will, but I wasn't thinking about it at the time we were going through it clearly because we ain't had no book open. That's what we supposed to told the brother when he was asking no questions. That's publishing salvation. Publishing Yahushua HaMashiach, because he said, you know, Yahuwah gave the word, greater the company that published it. The priests or the men that he sent are the ones who published it. Because remember what Malachi chapter 2 say, the priest is the messenger of Yahuwah of hosts. The people should seek the law at his mouth, and the priest's lips should keep knowledge. And most of these dudes' lips ain't keeping knowledge. Oh, I ain't got no more room on the thing. Hold on. Shoot, I ain't got no more room on the thing, man. You could kind of call. I can give you the phone number to the line though.
Okay.
It's 515.
515.
Hold on. I gotta wait for it to swing. Oh no, I don't. Hold on, I gotta wait for it to swing back around. It's 515-603.
603.
3191.
Thank you.
Hold on. The passcode is 493138.
49313. Okay.
Alright. Alright, y'all. That was just Dap Son. I ain't got no more room. So that's publishing salvation. And that's what you're supposed to do. That's what he said. Those that have been sent, that's what they doing. That's what they would have did from the jump street. That's what they would have always been on. That's what they would have always done. Nevertheless, he said, but this man, he said, truly were many priests because they were not suffered to continue by reason of death. But this man, because he continued ever, have an unchangeable priesthood, wherefore he is able to save them to the uttermost that come unto Elohim by him. He ever lived to make intercession for them. For such a high priest become us, who is Kadesh, harmless, undefiled, separate from sinners, and made higher than the Shamahim, who need not daily as those high priests to offer up sacrifice first for his own sins and then for the people. For this did he once when he offered up himself. For the Torah make men high priests which have infirmity, but the word of the oath which was since the Torah make the Son who was consecrated forevermore. And then chapter 8, and we're not going to go into the great detail tonight. Chapter 8 tells us about how that new covenant, or that renewed covenant, or which is taking us back to what this house is talking about in 2 Kings and 2 Chronicles, is about, and how it's greater. Like he told you in Haggai, he say the latter house will be greater than the former house. This latter house, which is a part of a newer covenant, is greater than the latter house, or the house that Solomon built, which is a part of the old covenant. That's why that house had to be destroyed. See, he destroyed that house to rebuild a new one, which was better. When you destroy or build, you're destroying something to build something better. To build something better. But you have to have the humility to take that destruction through that process, because it's going to be a painful process. He say no chastisement feels good. It's not joyous, but yet grievous, but yet it yield the peaceable fruit of righteousness to all those who are exercised thereby. So that rebuke and chastening that you're catching to destroy that old house doesn't feel good while you're going through it, because you expect it to feel nice and be dandelions and sunflowers. Do you know what I'm saying? But it's not going to be that. It's not going to be that. It will be that when it's done. Because then you're going to look back and you're going to see that's why he, just like the Karate Kid, he could not understand why Mr. Miyagi took him through all that stuff. That stuff didn't make any sense until it was over. He just felt like the man was messing with him, picking on him, got him cleaning his house, doing this here and doing that there. But yeah, he taught him a skill that became second nature to him, that he didn't even have to think about it. And that's how the word should be in your heart, that you shouldn't even have to think about it. It should become second nature because you have become one with it. Because you've become one with it. And it just directs your steps. You don't even have to think. It's because it's there. It's in you. But the only way that can happen is if you believe. Let's go over here back to 2 Kings chapter 3. You have to really believe in the benefits of what it is, but then also you have to be willing to be new. You have to be willing to let that old evil person go. He said, you know, a man that hateth his life shall save it. He that saveth his life shall lose it, and he who loses his life shall save it. And you have to be willing to lose your life. If you were not see, like he sat back and he said, even the money, everyone that passed the account, every month that's set at. And this is what I meant to hit y'all with Wednesday. In Luke chapter 14, the master said, you got to sit down and ask, do you have sufficient to pay? And that's what Joash was looking at. Did they have sufficient amount of money to pay to repair the house? When the master sat down and he said, Father, if it be possible, let this cup pass. He had sat down and count the cost to see if he had sufficient to pay. And Yahushua had determined, I do. That's why he said, are you able to be immersed with the immersion that I'm immersed with? And to take and to drink from the cup that I drink from? He had counted the cost. See, a lot of y'all heard the gospel and you were like, oh man, that sounds deep, man. That's a lot of stuff, man. I never knew that before. But I don't think some of you sat down and counted the cost of whether you had sufficient to pay. You know what I'm saying? Do you have enough to pay the bill? And that is your life. That is your life. That's why he told you, when you ain't sat down and thought about, do you have sufficient to pay, and then you start to build, and then you start to build, stop, and then people mock you. This man began to build and he stopped. People mock you because people want you to fail. I done told y'all this, some of y'all did before. People want you to fail. They want to see you fall. They don't want to see you be successful. People get a joy out of it only because they're projecting their own insecurities and failures on you. And you taking them on. That's where your confidence come in at. You ain't never supposed to let nobody tell you who you are. You already should know who you are. You should never let nobody tell you what you can and can't do. You should know what you can do. And you should believe that you could do it under any circumstance and situation, that nothing could deter you from achieving your objective, because that's how much you believe in yourself. When people tell you, oh man, you can never stop sinning, it's because they can't stop sinning. So they're projecting that onto you. You don't have to accept that. If somebody tell you, oh, you ain't never going to be nothing. No, they ain't never going to be nothing. And they projecting that on you. It ain't got nothing to do with you. That's the part of the game that you have to understand. A lot of stuff ain't got nothing to do with you. That's them. You know what I'm saying? They ain't got nothing to do with you. But sometimes when people do something, we taking it personally, like, oh, there's something wrong with me. There's nothing wrong with you. Somebody tell you you can't do that. You can't start that business. You can't be, no, you can't start it. You know what I'm saying? And you don't want me to start it, so you're putting that in my head. You know what I'm saying? That's you, man. And that's where you have to learn to believe in yourself. And to know that I don't care what he said I can't do, because that's what he can't do. I can do this because I'm going to put my mind to doing it. There's nothing on this earth that any of you can't accomplish if you put your mind to it. A lot of you are not accomplishing the things you want to accomplish because you're not putting your mind to accomplishing it. If you put your mind to say that I want to deny my flesh and live righteously and uprightly, then yes, you can do that. If you want to put your mind to say that I'm going to be the best mother, the best father, the best husband, the best wife that I possibly can be with the capabilities and strengths that's within me, then you could do that. Then you could do that. If you say I want to be the best servant to the living Elohim that ever existed, then you can do that. But you have to put your mind to it and be resolute against anything that's what you're going to do. If you don't, then you're not going to do it. If you're looking for an excuse not to do something or a way out, and the best way for you to get that is to have someone enable you in negative behavior that you want to commit, and then you'll stick to that. Now, somebody told me this the other day, and it's just how I feel, and it ain't really about them, but how I look at this here, right? I'll tell you this here before we proceed. Don't never ask nobody to be something that you are not yourself. Don't ask nobody to be a good man and you're not a good woman. Don't ask nobody to be no good woman and you're not no good man. Don't try to exact something out of someone that you are not exemplifying yourself. Don't tell nobody to be no righteous man and you're not no righteous woman. Don't tell nobody to be no righteous woman and you're no righteous man. I feel like that's not right. You know what I'm saying? Because you're expecting something out of someone that you're not giving yourself. You know what I'm saying? Elohim came to us and said, I want you to be a righteous people. So what did he do? He sent his son in the likeness of sinful flesh to manifest the righteousness of Elohim. And that's why Yah can look you in your face and say, this is what I expect from you. Because he gave you that in return. Because a lot of people do that. You know what I'm saying? It's mainly, especially telling somebody, I want a good woman, but you're not a good man. So how do you feel like you deserve a good woman and you are not the example or the exemplifying the attributes of what you want this woman to exemplify, but yet you want this woman to be like this? How? That's not right. That's not fair to her. That's not just. That's not equitable. You know what I'm saying? If you want that woman to be good, then be a good man then. You know what I'm saying? You want somebody to be righteous, then be righteous yourself. You want somebody to be upright yourself. That's fair, that's right, that's just. That's how y'all operate. And that's how this world operates, is that we want an exact standard from somebody, but then you don't want to exemplify it yourself. And then we have the nerve to discard people when they don't move up to the level that you want them to move up to, of which you have not attained yourself, and you're hanging that over them. That's not cool in my estimation. I just didn't go over all that. Hit me later after the conversation. Didn't really hit me right then. I just was thinking on that later on, like that, because I see that that's what false prophets do. I see that's what America do as a whole. America tells black people, do this and do this and do that, and you'll get this. But then this stinking whore does not do this herself. Do you know what I'm saying? We become law-abiding, productive citizens, and we do this and do that and do this. But then America don't do it. So how you then you castigate me? You want to lock me up? You want to denigrate me in your movies and your television shows, on your newscasts? But yet you are not exemplifying this standard and attributes that you want me to exhibit. And I don't do people like that. I especially hate these niggas who always screaming a woman won't submit and you ain't giving a woman nothing to submit to. I hate a nigga like that. Because how do you expect this woman to be this and you're not this? No, that ain't what's happening. But you know, we'll move on from that. Because you know, Hebrew nigga be online all the time talking about how y'all black women can't submit. And I always be wondering, nigga, have you ever thought it's you? Hey, did you ever think it was you? We ain't talking about just interpersonal stuff, you know, regular dealings that people have. Because you know, sometimes people personalities bump heads. I'm talking about just being a man. Being a man of that woman, say that I am confident in the direction that this man will lead me and these children. I am confident that this man has good sense, good direction, a good foundation, is a just and upright man, and he can direct us our affairs with discretion and wisdom. So therefore, I will submit to his leadership and follow him wherever he goes. Because that's what you do with Yahusha. He said, my sheep follow me. That means when you saw him and you heard of him, you say, I trust this man to lead me wherever he goes. Because that's why I told you the other day, when I say a godly man deserves a godly woman, you need to stop looking at godly women in the aspect of just a natural woman. Because you are part of his body and his members, and a man join his wife and become one flesh. That meaning you are of the body of Mashiach, which means you are of Yasharal, which is his wife. That means you need to look at the aspect of the attributes that you want a natural woman to exhibit. You need to be exhibiting them same attributes to your Elohim. Then you could be able to understand what you would need to do as a man to cause that natural woman to submit and follow you, because you would understand why you submitting and following your husband. But we don't do that. You know what I'm saying? Because we always look at what the woman supposed to do versus what you supposed to do as a man to assist this woman in what she supposed to do. Because it's hundreds of thousands and millions of black women that desire a man to direct them properly. You know what I'm saying? But most of these niggas don't want to do it. It's more to directing a woman properly than paying bills. Because anybody can pay bills. Anybody can do that. You know what I'm saying? It's more to it than that. It's more to it than that. It's sinners paying bills. That don't mean they leading that woman properly. It's a mind state and a mind frame and a desire to lead through the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding of Elohim, and to direct your affairs like a man, and to show yourself a man, and to show yourself to have understanding like a man, like the book tell you to. You know what I'm saying? And that's when it come down to when we really look at it as a people. Most men don't want a virtuous woman, and most women don't want a righteous man. You want the type of man you want, or the type of woman you want, and then try to convert them to have the attributes that you want them to have, versus if that was already right there in your face. That's what we did with Yahuwah when we took them golden calves and all the other stuff we did. We want to take these people gods and make them be like Yah, versus you already had Yah in your face. You already had a righteous man in your face. You already had a king in your face. Why were you going somewhere else to try to make something to be something that is not, when you already had it? It was already in your face. You know what I'm saying? Or you got it in your face, but you looking at that over there, which appealing to the eye, instead of taking your butt right over here and what you claiming that you desire. Same way I see these niggas talking about, oh, ain't no virtual woman out here, as an excuse to go mess with whores and scallywags and the beasts of the field. You ain't want no virtuous woman. Because 9 times out of 10, that virtual woman gonna hold you accountable and force you to be the man that you supposed to be, and you would rather have a woman who would not. That's what niggas do. That's what niggas do. You know what I'm saying? That's what niggas do. I don't want no real woman. She gonna make me be a man. She's gonna tell me I need to do this. She gonna tell me to do this and do that. Nigga don't want to do that.
Hello, what you doing?
Where we at? I just threw me out. 2 Kings chapter 12. I'm just telling you though, a real man appreciate that. He ain't gonna have no problem with that. You know what I'm saying? They might butt heads every now and then, but they know that both of them are for the ability to make each other stronger as a whole. You know what I'm saying? Strong people desire strong things. Weak people desire weak things. Weak people like weak people. Strong people like strong people. Because they're going to keep them strong. I call for Romans 15, but we to get that why he say those that are strong ought to support the weak. So knowing that somebody weak, you're going to try to strengthen them and make them stronger. That's what Mashiach did. The reproaches of them that reproached thee fell on me. He came to make those that were weak strong. That's why he said those that are weak, let them say they strong. You were weak in the flesh. Mashiach came to make you strong. So all of you that are weak, you need to affirm in your mind you are strong because of the strength of him who died and rose again for you to give you that strength. And to lean on that.
Yes, sure I want to do it.
All right, what we at? 2 Kings chapter 12. Hold on, y'all. Where we at? Oh, we at 2 Kings chapter 12. We at verse 7. Yeah, verse 6. Verse 6. He said, but it was so that in the 23rd year king of Malach Joash, the priests had not repaired the breaches of the house. Then Malach Joash called for Jehoiada the priest, and the other priests said unto them, why repair ye not the breaches of the house? Now therefore receive no more money of your acquaintance, but deliver it for the breaches of the house. Hold on. These men were taking the money of the house, but then they wasn't doing the work. Look at 2 Peter chapter 2. And that's what a lot of people do. They getting the stuff for the work, and then they not going to do the work because they trying to profit it off of it themselves. If I can get to 2 Peter chapter 2, maybe we can make something happen. Good grief. 2 Peter chapter 2 verse 1. Second Peter chapter 2 verse 1. But there were false prophets also among the people, even as there shall be false teachers among you, who privily shall bring in damnable heresies, even denying Yahuwah that bought them, and bring upon themselves swift destruction. Many shall follow their pernicious ways, by reason of whom the way of truth shall be evil spoken of, and through covenant shall they with vain words make merchandise of you, whose judgment now of a long time lingered not, and their damnation slumbered not. Now this take us, matter of fact, now this got me thinking about that parable. Come over here to Matthew. See, now they had been delivered the money to actually go do the work, and they weren't doing it. Matthew chapter 25. Matthew 25 and 24.
Stop, what is that? It's marketing. It's overlap. It's overlap. Well, I can't hear nothing.
Hey, Sharon, mute that phone, boy, because they can hear all you, man. They can't hear you. Matthew 25 and 24. Then he which had received, well, we got to back it up. Verse 14. For the kingdom of Shamahem is as a man traveling into a far country, who called his own servants and delivered unto them his goods. That's what you see in 2 Kings chapter 12. And unto them he gave 5 talents, to another 2, and to another 1, and to every man according to several ability, and straightway took his journey. Then he that received the 5 talents went and traded them, and made them other 5 talents. And likewise he that received 2, he also gained other 2. And he that received 1 went and digged in the earth, and hid his master's money. And after a long time the master of those servants come and reckoned with them. And so that he had received 5 talents came and brought other 5 talents, saying, Master, thou delivered unto me 5 talents. Behold, I have gained besides these 5 talents more. His master said unto him, Well done, thou good and faithful servant. Thou hast been faithful over a few things, and I will make thee ruler over many things. Enter thou into the joy of thy master. He that also received 2 talents came and said, Master, thou delivered unto me 2 talents. Behold, I've gained 2 other talents besides them. His master said unto them, Well done, good and faithful servant. Thou hast been faithful over a few things. I will make thee ruler over many things. Enter thou into the joy of thy master. Then he which received the 1 talent came and said, Master, I knew that thou art a hard man, and reaping where thou hast not sown, and gathering where thou hast not strawed. And I was afraid, and went and hid thy talent in the earth, and lo, there thou hast that is thine. His master answered and said unto him, Thou wicked and slothful servant, thou knew that I reap where I sowed not, and gather where I have not strawed. Thou ought therefore to have put my money to the exchangers, and then at my coming I should have received my own with usury. Take therefore the talent from him, and give it unto him which have 10 talents. And for every one of you that have shall be given, he shall have abundance. But from him that have not shall be taken away even that which he hath. And cast ye unprofitable servant into outer darkness, there shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Now, when we turn around and we look at it, we can see the basis. Come back to 2 Kings chapter 12. We can see the basis of the parable that the master spit. Because you see with these particular priests that they had already been gathering in the money. Joash did not sow this money, nor did he reap. He didn't do any of that. And then he put this money into the hands of these priests to repair the house so we could make it new. And what did the priest do? We'll read it again. Then, verse 7, Then Malach Joash called for Jehoiada the priest and the other priests and said unto them, Why repair ye not the breaches of the house? Now therefore receive no more money of your acquaintance, but deliver it for the breaches of the house. They were taking the money, but then wasn't doing with the money what they were supposed to be doing. Which the same thing you see with that last servant who took that talent and didn't do with it what he was supposed to do. Now these men got a reprieve. He did not. You have to sit back and you have to look at that. If you receive a talent, not just along with just sitting back, because you know he talking about preaching the word when he talking about several ability. That goes into the gifts of the Ruach and the ministering of the gifts and things of that nature. But if you're receiving that talent, Hebrews chapter 2 tell you, take the more honest heed to the things that you have heard, lest they slip. Remembering with that publishing salvation, is to hear, is to obey. Faith come by hearing, hearing come by the word. If you are not taking that talent and that talent is not bearing more talent, or you're not bearing fruit, then you're an unprofitable servant because you didn't get any gain from what you're doing. And that goes back to what we mentioned about the chastising and the rebuke of the word, so you can yield the peaceable fruit of righteousness. Remember, he say, abide in me and I in you. And if you abide in me, I will purge you. He say, I am the vine, ye are the branches. Abide in me and I in you. Whosoever abide in me, he say, I will purge them and they shall bring forth more fruit. He say that when the seed that fall upon the good ground is one who hear the word and understand it and bring forth fruit, some 30, some 60, some 100-fold. So you have to sit back and look at that. You need to be taking that talent or that seed and you need to be multiplying it or manifesting maturation and growth in the word. When you're not maturing and growing, it is truly, honestly, your fault. It's nobody else's fault but yours. Nobody else can be responsible for your maturation and growth. No one else is responsible for that, because you can be given the information, you can be given the knowledge, you can be given the wisdom, you can be given the understanding, you can be given the example. But if you do not have the desire to do it yourself, you will not mature and you will not grow. Because maturity, whether it be natural or whether it be spiritual, is an individual thing that an individual chooses to grow. Anything that's not growing is dead. You will always be living and growing until the day that you're dead. If you're not, you're already dead. And I've always told y'all that. I may have not say it on a consistent basis, at least not in the last maybe year and a half. Just say it all the time, and from the time that we started. In life, period. In life, period. Not just with the word. In life, period. You will always be learning and growing. If you are not always learning, you should be learning and growing to the day that you die. I haven't said it in a while. There's never a point that you should sit back and say, I got it, I made it. I got it. Once you say you got it, like that means you saying you're firm and solidified, and that's the minute that you're going to fall. No, I know people say, okay, I got the word. They say they got the word as forth as meaning they possess it, as forth as dispensing it for the purpose of edification. But when you say, I got it, you're saying you're there. You're at the summit. You're at the apex. Paul said that in Philippians. Let's look at that in Philippians chapter 3, what I'm talking about. Or what I'm actually saying. Let's just look at it in Philippians 3. Philippians chapter 3, verse 4. Make it 3. For we are the circumcision which worship Elohim in the Ruach. Hold on. Philippians 3 and 3. See, because this is what Paul's saying, right? You can't never say, I made it. I got it. Can't never say that. You always going to be manifesting growth. You're not your dead. Let me tell you. For we are the circumcision which worship Elohim and Ruach and rejoice in Yahushua HaMashiach and have no confidence in the flesh. You should have no confidence in the fact that you are the seed of Yasharal. That should not be the seed of your confidence. Your seed of your confidence should be in your Elohim. That's what tripped up your ancestors now. He said, though I might also have confidence in the flesh, if any other man think that he hath, whereof he might trust in the flesh, I more, circumcised the 8th day, of the stock of Yasharal, of the tribe of Benjamin, of Abarim of the Abarines, and that's touching the law of Pharisee. But Paul would just let it be known, if I wanted to, I could do it. He say, concerning zeal, persecuting the synagogue, touching righteousness, which is in the Torah, blameless. But what things were gained to me, those I counted loss for Mashiach. Yea, doubtless I count all things but loss for the excellency of the knowledge of Yahushua HaMashiach, my master, for whom I have suffered the loss of all things, and do count them but dung, that I may win Mashiach. That's what a lot of y'all problem is. You don't count the things that you got to lose as dung, so therefore that's why you don't get nothing, because you're trying to hold on, you ain't trying to lose nothing. In order to gain, I wouldn't care what it is you do in life, that you're gonna have to sacrifice something if you want to attain something of a certain level. You're gonna have to lose. Nobody wants to lose anything. You want to keep everything and gain everything Elohim had versus losing something to gain him. Because if you're gonna gain him, you're gonna have to lose. Bottom line. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna have to lose, and we don't be wanting to lose. So you're gonna carry everything you're trying to hold to hell with you. He showed you that when you came out of Mizraim. Them people left with nothing but the stuff, but their kneading troughs. That's all they left with. They had to count everything as loss so they could gain Yahuwah. It's right there in the law. Everything they had in Mizraim, they had to leave it behind. It had to be a loss so they could gain Yah. And what did they sit back and do? Oh, we had this in Egypt. We had that in Egypt. They didn't count it as a loss in their heart. They were carrying it with them. And it took them down. Don't make that same mistake. And be found in him, not having my own righteousness, which is of the Torah, but that which is through faith of Mashiach, the righteousness which is of Elohim by faith, that I may know him and the power of his resurrection and the fellowships of his suffering, being made conformable unto his death, if by any means I may attain unto the resurrection of the dead, not as though I already attained, either were already perfect, but I follow after, that I may apprehend that for which also I am apprehended of Yahushua HaMashiach. He said the same thing that he has been caught by the Mashiach, he looked to be captured by it. When he talking about that perfect body, like getting rid of this vile body and be made like unto his esteemed body. He said, I haven't attained that yet. He said, but I'm apprehended of that hope. I'm looking to be apprehended of that because I'm apprehended of the word, or I'm apprehended of Mashiach. He said, brethren, I count not myself to have apprehended, but this one thing I do, forgetting those things which are behind, reaching forth unto those things which are before. I press toward the mark of the prize of the high calling of Elohim and Yahushua HaMashiach. Let us therefore, as many as be perfect, be thus minded. And if in anything you be otherwise minded, Elohim shall reveal even this unto you. This man say, hey, I don't count myself as having attained that, but those things that are behind me, they stay there because I'm focused on what's in front of me, so that I might attain the prize of the calling, the mark. Now we just sit back and look at sin is classified in Hebrew as missing the mark. You're not hitting the mark. A lot of us get jammed up in the process because you thinking about the things that are behind and not the things that are before you. Guess what, right? Before the word, some of you were whores, male or female, the middle difference. Some of you were liars and thieves and blasphemers and idolaters and murderers. You know what I'm saying? And covetous. And all of these different things. But he said, but now you are washed. Now you are sanctified by the name of Yahushua HaMashiach. If that's what you did before, the man said, I blotted your transgressions in a thick cloud. I mean, he don't remember them no more. Some of y'all still beating yourself up for stuff you did before you knew better. Now, if you knew better, you ought to kick yourself in the behind for it. Do you know what I'm saying? But then you're just going to have to dust yourself off and get it together. Do you know what I'm saying? You can't be doing it. And some of y'all are still holding on to old thoughts, old pains, old disappointments. You know what I'm saying? Old ways, old people, and you won't let them go. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm a firm believer of this, that sometimes you deal with the same person over and over again. They just have a different face and a different name, because you still steady deal with that type of spirit and that type of mentality that particular people possess. And you're just dealing with the same thing, just with a different face and a different name. You know what I'm saying? Because you haven't changed your thought process and how you operate and how you move to not be attracted to those type of people. You know what I'm saying? You wonder why you have the same type of friends. You have the same type of friends because you still have the same type of mind. Some people, male or female, they wonder why I attract this type of man or this type of woman, because it's the mentality that you possess is what's attracting you to these type of people. You know what I'm saying? If you steady attracting lazy, no good women, then you have to sit back and look at what is it about you and your thought process that is projecting that out, that is causing those type of women to come to you. Or a belligerent woman, or a stubborn woman. What is it about you that's causing that to come near to you? It's something that how you think and how you operate or why you're attracting that. You say you godly, but you attract ungodly people who want to talk to you, and then you entertain them. So then you got to ask yourself, what is it that you're projecting that cause these people to come unto you? Because Satan can only get as far as what you entertain. Always remember Matthew chapter 4, Yahushua did not entertain him. Satan can only get as close as what you entertain. You entertain stupidity, you entertain ungodliness, you entertain sin. That's why he say, if you do good, shall you not be accepted? And if not, sin lay at the door. Don't entertain it and it won't come in. Stop opening the door for sin. Stop opening the door for the adversary. Just because they knock don't mean you got to answer. Just because they speak don't mean you got to have a conversation. Just because you get invited to a party don't mean you got to go. Do you know what I'm saying? You got to look at every aspect of your life like that. Because this is your soul. This is your life. This is what our law tells us. This is not a vain thing for you. This is your life. You only got one shot at this. One shot. Every day his mercies is made new for you to get your one shot correct. You only got one shot. You got to make it count. Ain't no do-overs when you die. You ain't going to come back here and try it again. You're going to answer for what you've done in this body, whether it be good or whether it be evil. It's best to go ahead and make it new. Come on back over here to 2 Kings chapter 12. And I got a cross-reference this Luke Chronicle 24. Oh, boy. Y'all will know we got on tomorrow. We're in verse 8. In verse 9, actually. And also this verse 8, right? The priest consented to receive no more money of the people, neither to repair the breaches of the house. That goes back to what we read the other day. That goes back to that 1 Corinthians chapter 9 where Paul was talking about we have power to take offerings from the people, but we don't do it. That's where the stuff comes from. That's one of the good things about us going through the particular process. You can see it. God, we're talking about this here. Because people say a lot of things about Paul's letters and this, that, and the third. And in actuality, they don't know the scriptures. So they don't know where they get this stuff from. Do you know what I'm saying? I did talking to Will about this the other day. A nigga will read 1 Corinthians 11. Because this is the main one to stand out. Because I'm not just isolating this just to be isolating. I'm isolating it for a reason. A nigga will read 1 Corinthians chapter 11 and two things in 1 Corinthians chapter 11 they'll read. They'll read about how he says not a man shouldn't pray with his head covered and that a man shouldn't have long hair. And they'll read that and they'll say they believe Paul's writing, they believe the New Testament, they believe all of that, right? And they'll read that, but then they don't like that particular part. It's not a sin to pray with your head covered, prophesy with your head covered. Can't read nobody in the book doing it. When they read verses about people having their head covered, they were not praying or prophesying. They were mourning every single time. Nobody was praying or prophesying with their head covered. Every time you see about the turban on the priest's head, they were performing priestly duties. They were not praying. They were not prophesying. They were not doing that. You know what I'm saying? You can't read that. It's not there. You don't see nobody in the book doing that. So then they see that part. Oh, that was Paul's opinion. Never sitting back looking at where did he get this from? Where did he get this from? They believe everything else he says. See, they don't understand Paul's writings. But when they get to that particular spot right there, oh, see, that was his opinion. That's what a nigga say. That was his opinion. Totally overlooking Ezekiel chapter 44 when Yah himself says that the priests, which we know Isaiah chapter 61 say that you shall be called the priest of Yahuwah. We know Revelation 1 and 5 say by the blood of Mashiach you shall be made priests. We know that he said that you would be a kingdom of priests, just like Peter said in 1 Peter chapter 2 when you came up out of Mizraim. So knowing, saying you a priest, saying you a priest, he said the priests should not suffer their locks to grow long, but they ought to cut their hair. That's what it says. Not my personal opinion. And it said, thus saith Yahuwah saying it. Niggas sit back and say, nah, that ain't where he got it from. That's his opinion. So, okay, that's his opinion then. Do what you will with it and do what you want. Take it how you want it. That was a direct commandment from Yah for the priest to cut their hair and not let their hair get long. That came from Yah. It didn't come from me. I don't care what a nigga do with his head. Personally. Do you know what I'm saying? If a nigga want to wear locks, man, grow them, my nigga. What that mean to me? What do I care? If I ain't never cared about it for the word, then clearly I don't have a personal problem with it. But if it's against the word of Yahuwah, I do have a personal problem with it. Because it's against my God. Therefore, it's against me. Therefore, you're an enemy of his. Therefore, you're an enemy of mine. So I got a problem with it. But a dude don't want to hear that because this is what I want to do. So no, that ain't what he meant. You know what I'm saying? But they love to read there. They love it when Paul say, let the women be quiet. Don't let the women teach. Paul know what he talking about then, though. But he never knows what he talking about when it's something they want to do. So you got to check the hypocrisy. And that's why you got to actually read and then see where did he get it. Regardless, if I'm preaching or we're preaching, don't make no difference. It doesn't make no difference. When you studying on your own and you read on your own and you in them epistle letters, you supposed to sit and think to yourself, where did he get this from? Why is he saying this? And if you can't find it on your own, then you know what you do? You ask a question so it can be satisfied. You don't walk around hoping and wishing. Do you know what I'm talking about? You ask a question and you can get, and you might can find out where this stuff come from. And then this is what you do with it after that. Because the particular matter I'm talking about, but we sat down in the man's living room and went through that and preached about it last year about it too. Because it came up in the memories again. But before we preached about it, we sat in the man's living room and went through that. And nobody had nothing to say. Now everybody got a problem with it. Now it's my feelings and opinions about it. When we sat down and had a conversation about it, this is what the text say, this is what it say. This is what it say, man. It is what it is. If y'all say don't do it, what is the problem? If y'all say I don't want my priests to let their locks grow long, because if you don't let your locks grow long, then guess what that means? You're not a priest. And if you're not a priest, then the blood of Mashiach has had no profit to you because it said his blood made you a priest. That's heavy. That's something to consider. That means by doing that, you're excluding yourself from him to make a cultural statement. How lame is that? Nigga, don't mean you. What did Andre 3 Stacks say? Just because a nigga got dread don't mean he down for the cause. Nigga, I'm not impressed by that. Just because you got on a dashiki don't mean you down for the cause, nigga. Not moved by that, nigga. That's the same as being moved by a nigga got bandanas on mean he a thug. Mean you a thug because you got a bandana on, nigga. You ain't no more a thug because you carry a pistol. You got a gun don't make you hard. You just a nigga with a gun. And that's what we be looking. I said all that to say that we always looking for the outside stuff to validate us and point to who we are and what we are versus what you are on the inside. That's our problem. See, we used to clown about this a long time ago. Where your fringes at, brother? Where your sandals at? It was from an episode of Boondocks where dude was like, you ain't down for the cause. You ain't got your sandals on. You ain't got your dashiki on. You know what I'm saying? Think. Be wise. Be more concerned with what's inside of you than trying to project something on the outside. And you'll get further. Where we at? 2 Kings, chapter 12, verse 9. At least got to hit the one part. It's 11 o'clock. But Jehoiada the priest took a chest and bore a hole in the lid of it, set it beside the altar on the right side as one coming to the house of Yahuwah. And the priest kept the door and put therein all the money that was brought into the house of Yahuwah. And when it was so, when they saw that there was much money in the chest, somebody mute your phone. Got mute your phone. That the king's scribe and the high priest came up and they put in bags and told the money that was found. And somebody mute your phone. You got a whole lot of noise going on now. Got to pay attention to what you're doing. And told the money that was found in the house of Yahuwah. And they gave the money being told into the hands of them that did the work. They had the oversight of the house of Yahuwah, and they laid it out to the carpenters. The carpenters and the God. Hey, somebody, man, mute your phone. Mute your phone. Mute your phone. All right, and they gave the money being told into the hands of them that did the work. They had the oversight of the house of Yahuwah, and they laid it out to the carpenters and builders that wrought upon the house of Yahuwah, and to the masons and the hewers of stone to buy timber and hewed stone to repair the breaches of the house of Yahuwah, for all that was laid out for the house to repair. Let me see something real quick. Now he said he put this stuff in the hands of those that had the oversight, the carpenters and the builders. We kind of read the other day how Paul said how he was a master builder. So in the 2 Chronicles 24. When we look at hewed stone, and that word for hewed stone is just hewing, or it ain't really nothing on that. Yeah, man, it ain't nothing we can use. Well, I got something in my mind on that though, bro. He also sent them to buy timber. And that ain't going to be nothing but timber on that. When you look at timber, that word is oxen, is just tree, a wood, a stock, a plane, a stalk, a stick, or trees, or gallows, or firewood, or cedar wood, or woodly flax. And this was to prepare the breaches. Now I want you to sit there and think about that. Think about that when you say you sent him to buy trees, and he sent him to buy stone, a huge stone. Let's look at 2 Chronicles 24. We got to cross-reference that particular matter. 2 Chronicles 24. Yeah, we ain't going to get to that part what I was talking about with Moses till y'all will on tomorrow. We'll look at verse 9, the way you can see where that collection come from in the law. Because we definitely got to hit that. And they made a proclamation through Yehuda and Jerusalem to bring into Yehuda the collection that Moses, the servant of Elohim, laid upon Yasharal in the wilderness. And all the princes and all the people rejoiced and brought in and cast into the chest until they made an end. Now it came to pass that at what time the chest was brought into the Malek's office by the hand of the Levites, and when they saw that there was much money, the Malek scribe and the high priest officer came and emptied the chest and took it and carried it to its place again. And thus they did day by day and gathered money in abundance. And the Malek and Yehuda gave it to such as did the work of the service of the house of Yahuwah, and hired masons and carpenters to repair the house of Yahuwah, and also such as wrought iron and brass to mend the house of Yahuwah. So the workmen wrought, and their work was perfected by them, and they set the house of Elohim in his state and strengthened it. Now we talked about setting it in his state and strengthening it. And again, we see that same thing like we seen in Kings about repairing the breach or making it strong. Strengthening the gap or bringing the people back to Yahuwah. And that's the part of the game that you had to sit back and look at as those workmen. That is their job. He said they perfected them. We'll reiterate that again. That word perfect in this particular verse is aruka, and that is healing or restoration or health. So he said the work made the house healthy. Think about that. When they look at setting it in its state, that's a measurement or a tail. And then the strengthening is a motz. And that's to be strong or courageous or to exhibit strength. Now, we talked about last week how I say that Greek word for sound was healthy. And how the book say Yah has healed me from all my diseases. So those who do the work are actually coming to heal the people and to make them strong and to make them powerful. And he said he placed the money in their hands. Let's see what that money is. Ephesians chapter 4. See, and that goes back to when you're publishing salvation, when you're publishing the word of Yahuwah, when you're bringing glad tidings of good things, then you're actually manifesting what will heal the people and make the people strong. You know what I'm saying? Because your diseases are being healed, which is the diseases of maliciousness, spite, envy, all these works of the flesh. Matter of fact, before we read Ephesians 4 and 11, let's go on and look at all these works of the flesh. Romans chapter 1. Let's just go ahead and do it like that before we slide on out of here. Let's just do it like that. Romans chapter 1, verse 29. And we're going to look at all of these things that are of the flesh that y'all willing that I can think of, which are the diseases of which the word will heal you from, if you allow it. We read some of them on Wednesday. You know, tell the truth, execute judgment, you know, let him that stole, let him steal no more. All that type of stuff. These are things that permeate and destroy you. He said, being filled with all unrighteousness, fornication, wickedness, covetousness, maliciousness, full of envy, murder, debate, deceit, malignity, whisperers, backbiters, haters of Elohim, despiteful, proud, boasters, inventors of evil things, disobedient to parents, without understanding, covenant breakers, without natural affection, implacable, unmerciful, who know in the judgment of Elohim that they which commit such things are worthy of death. Not only do the same, but have pleasure in them that do them. That man say you worthy of death if you take pleasure in people who do these same things. See, swing over here to Jeremiah chapter 30. Jeremiah chapter 30. And Isaiah chapter 1. Mashiach came through to repair the house, and he came through to repair the house with his body so that he could heal you and strengthen you in the process. That's why we read that Hebrews 7. He offered up his own self. And that was for your healing. Healing you from sin. That's why I quoted y'all Romans 8. When he sent his son in the likeness of sinful flesh to destroy sin in the flesh. That was to heal you. He said, he that is whole don't need a physician, but he that is sick. You sick because you were mired in sin. The soul that sinned, it shall die. He came to heal you. But you don't want your medicine. You running from it. Jeremiah chapter 30. Jeremiah chapter 30. Okay, that's what I want. Jeremiah 30. There we go. 30 and 11. He said, for I am with thee, saith Yahuwah, to save thee, though I make a full end of all nations whither I have scattered thee. Yet I will not make a full end of thee, but I will correct thee in measure, and will not leave thee altogether unpunished. For thus saith Yahuwah, thy bruise is incurable, and thy wound is grievous. There is none to plead thy cause, that thou may be bound up. Thou hast no healing medicines. You have to sit back and look at that. You didn't have anything to heal you. He said your wound is grievous. There's nothing to heal you with. Come on to Isaiah chapter 1. We'll sit back and look at it. You need healing, and you need to allow the man to do what it is that he do. But we don't want to allow the man to do what it is that he do because we're so stubborn. We resist everything the man tries to do because we try to do this stuff on our own. We feel like we feel like we already healed. You know what I'm saying? And that's not wise. Not wise at all. 1 and 16. Is it 1 and 16? No. Where's this? 1 and 5. He said, why should you be stricken anymore? You will revolt more and more. The whole head is sick. The whole heart is faint. From the sole of the feet even unto the head there is no soundness, but wounds and bruises and putrefying sores that have not been closed, neither bound up, neither mollified with ointment. Now, we dealt with this a long time ago. You can remember this here. This is why the master came through and said, look at my hands and behold my feet. And the wounds were still there. The bruises were still there. They hadn't been closed. You should remember that. That's why Thomas was able to stick his hands through there, through the holes in his hands and in his side, because Isaiah had already told you they wouldn't be closed up. But how did he heal them? Because he said you didn't have anything to mollify the ointments. You didn't have any healing medicine or nothing. He healed them because there was the Ruach of Elohim that rose in front of the dead. Because if the Ruach of Mashiach be in you, then life be in you. But if you don't have the Ruach of Mashiach, you are none of his. So you hear, remember the master told you, it's the flesh that profiteth nothing. It's the Ruach that quickeneth or make alive. The words that I speak unto you are Ruach and they are life. That's the publishing of salvation. You get healed through the word. His Ruach is what's going to heal you. But you have to allow it to come to do what it is that it do. If you don't allow it to come to do what it is that it do, then you will forever be mired with these wounds and diseases. Let's look at more of some of these diseases. Let's look at Galatians chapter 5. Look at the things that make you sick. These are the things, these are the things that make you sick, because he said there's no soundness from your head to your feet. Why was Mashiach hit with these wounds that can't be closed? Because he had became sin for you, and he was hung from that tree because of that. So he was put to death for your diseases to heal you from your diseases. Now you need to sit back and understand what are these diseases and why you need to mortify your own members through the word so that that Ruach can close those wounds up and be that healing medicine, and that those putrefying sores can be attended to. Because as long as you continue to walk in sin, then you will continue to have these wounds and these sores. And for what cause? Why will you die, O house of Yasharal? Why? Why are you going to die? What is the purpose? What is the reason? Somebody plead face to face with Elohim, or plead your cause with me and tell me why you ought to go to hell. Why anything that you're doing can take you to hell. Why is it that important? What person is so important that is worth your soul? What place is so important that is worth your soul? What activity, thought process, or emotion is so important for you to keep that you'll lose your soul? What is that important? Who is that important? Where is that important? Because he asked that question, why shall you die? I asked the same question, why would you die? Why? Why? How do you not love yourself enough to say, I want to live? How do you not? What is it that you feel so badly about yourself that you feel like you ought to die and go to hell? Why do you not feel like you're worth more than that? Because your Elohim felt like this people who was called by his name was worth more than that, to the point that he would sacrifice his own son. His son thought you was worth more than that, that though you were a sinner and you without strength, that he died for you. That you could be justified by him. So what insecurities and low self-esteem that you possess, that you do not feel like somebody could love you enough to that point that they'll give their life for you, so that you could do better for yourself? Because he didn't do it for him. He did that for us. So why you don't love yourself enough to say, I deserve to live? And that anybody and anything and anyone, including myself, will not stop me from living, because I love myself just that. That man say Elohim so loved the world, he gave his only begotten son. That man say a greater love had no man than this, that a man lay his life down for his friends. Are you not to see that Abraham his friend? That man say he loved you enough to do so. He said that all that believe on the Son should not perish. So what is it that you got going on inside of you that you feel like that you are not worthy enough to be loved to that capacity? Because that's the only reason why you're going to mire yourself in sin and degradation and ungodliness, because you don't love yourself enough and don't feel like anyone would ever love you to that point in capacity. So you feel like, what's the point? Why bother? And you got to deal with the fact is, where does that come from? You need to find somebody. You need to talk to them about it. Do you know what I'm saying? You need to get that out, because you can't heal what you don't reveal. You need to talk to somebody about that. You need to get that off your chest. I don't care who you talk. You can talk to me if you want to. You ain't got to talk to me, but you need to talk to someone. You need to figure that out. Somebody need to give you some wise counsel and some strength for you to be able to understand you are worthy enough to be saved and delivered by Elohim. You need to know that you need to love yourself and believe that you should live. That you should live. That if don't nobody else love you, he love you. If you love him in return. Now, if you don't love him in return, that man don't love you. He loved you enough to sacrifice himself for you. Now, what you going to do off of that? Don't let nobody tell you, man, that you don't deserve to be loved. Don't walk around with that type of insecurity and low self-esteem in your heart that you feel like you're not worthy to be loved. Because whoever put that in your brain, whoever showed you that, told you that, they ain't about nothing. They are the lowest of scum upon the earth and truly human bile and excrement. If they got you to believing that you're not worthy enough to be loved by anybody. Don't never believe that. Don't let nobody ever convince you of that. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't care who it was, family, friends, whoever, husband, wife. That's somebody you need to get from around you. Because truly they don't love you if they could purposely make you feel like you should not be loved, that no one will love you, and that you should not love yourself. Because you should love yourself enough to know you deserve to save your soul. Once you get to that point, you won't care about losing nobody. You won't care who you lose. You won't care what you lose. You won't care. That's why Paul say I count this stuff but dung. I ain't looking at what's behind me. I'm looking at what's in front of me. I'm trying to get the mark, man. I'm trying to get that prize. Go for the prize. That's all. Just go for the prize. Don't worry about what's in this life and what's in this world. Go for the prize. Galatians 5 and 20. 19 actually. I'm finna let y'all slide anyway. It's about 11:15. Now the works of the flesh are manifest, which are these: adultery, fornication, uncleanliness, lasciviousness, idolatry, witchcraft, hatred, variance, emulations, wrath, strife, sedations. Sedations is rebellion, heresies, envyings, murders, drunkenness, revilings, and such like of the which I tell you before, as I've told you in time past, they which do such things shall not inherit the kingdom of Elohim. These are the diseases. That's why he said, if you walk in the Ruach, you shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh. If you walk in the faith of the word, those diseases can be healed. But they can't be healed as long as you walking in. That's why he says, speak those things that become a sound doctrine. Teach those things that pertain to healing. See, some people be like, oh man, he always talk about going to hell. You only hear that because you going to hell. See, when your mind, when you have a particular mind and the behavior and the pattern that you going on, then you're going to hear what pertains to you. If you hear, he said, you know, the things that accompany salvation, if your mind is focused on salvation, that's what you're going to hear. You're going to hear the things talking about what your judgment going to be if you contrary, but you're not going to focus on that because that's not where your heart and your mind is going on, because that's not what you're doing. That's not what you're cleaving to. But if that's what you're cleaving to, that's all you're going to hear. Because you got to warn the people. You got to tell them. But we also talk about how you can save yourself and the things that you need to do and the joy in your Elohim and the faith of your Elohim. And the word is supposed to heal from sin, from unbelief. But if you're not hearing with the intent to obey, like we've seen in Isaiah 52 with publishing shalom, then that's not going to happen. You're not going to hear those good tidings. You're not going to hear that publishing of salvation. You're just going to hear the publishing of condemnation to all those who are contrary to the word of Elohim, whom they should justly and rightly receive. That goes for any of us, myself included. If we fall on the wrong side of that ledger, if we on the left-hand side with them goats, then we just got what we earned. And blessed be Yahuwah for it, because he's just and righteous in his judgment by rendering us according to our works. If we find ourselves on the left-hand side with them goats. If you go to hell, you ought to look y'all in the face on judgment day and say, well, look at Yahushua that particular day and say, blessed be Yahuwah Elohim in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach. Your judgment is right and true altogether. I surely and truly have earned this damnation, and I receive it with great loving kindness and joy. Because that's how you lived your life, so that's how you ought to accept it. That's how you ought to accept it. You ought to accept that condemnation with joy. Because you definitely had joy in doing those things that were contrary to the word. So don't have no sadness when it's time for you to get tossed in that outer darkness and there'll be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Receive it with joy and gladness. Now that sounds utterly asinine when you hear it in words, but yet that's how we live though. Why would I accept fire and worms with joy? But you accept sin with joy. Think about that. Let that resonate in your heart. 2 Timothy chapter 4. I'm sorry, 2 Timothy chapter 3. For this know also that in the last days perilous times shall come. For men shall be lovers of their own selves, selfish, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unkadesh, without natural affection, truce breakers, false accusers, incontinent, fierce, despisers of those that are good, traitors, heady, high-minded, lovers of pleasure more than lovers of Elohim, having a form of godliness, but denying the power thereof. From such turn away. That man say they got a form of looking godly. He say, but you ought to leave them alone. See, that's the part we don't want to deal with, is cutting niggas off. That's a hard thing to do. Most of the time, people cut themselves off from you. Mashiach told you that if they separate yourselves from your company for my name's sake. A lot of time, people cut you off themselves. You ain't even got to cut them off. But sometimes you're going to have to cut off people that you love. People that you care about. For your soul's sake. And now he made it talking about people who claim to be in the word, but they flogging though. You ain't really on that. You ain't really about that. That's what he's telling Timothy himself to do. But let's finish this up in Ephesians 4 and 11, and y'all we pick it up on the Shabbat. You know, Will got something for y'all. I already know the direction he's going to go, unless y'all put something in the mind, change in mind. I know he was telling me he's getting himself ready for it. He got something for you, though. He said, you niggas better be ready to go to war. That's all I can tell you. You go to war every day. Some of y'all be losing, though. And you're only losing because you ain't putting up no fight. You ain't really trying to fight. All you got to do is just put up a fight. Just fight. And you'll be all right. Some of you can fight with people and fight with your employers and fight with your children, but you won't fight your flesh. Just fight. You can win the battle if you believe you can win. If you believe you can win, you'll give the battle every ounce of yourself. If you don't believe you can win, then you're going to put up a minimal effort. You're going to put up a minimal effort and get knocked out. 4 and 8, I should say. Or 4 and 7. But unto every one of us is given favor according to the measure of the gift of Mashiach. Remember, he severed the money to each man according to his ability. You know, Yoash to the priest. You know, the gift of Yahuwah, giving of Yahuwah. But that might pale spill it the next week. It's a lot with Yoash, even though his story ain't that long. Wherefore he saith, when he ascended up on high, he led captivity captive and gave gifts unto men. Just like you see what we read earlier. Now, because we're going to look and see how though that money that was given to the priest is a gift given unto men according to the law. When they mention that with Moses, the collection, that is a gift given unto men according to the law. So bear with me, y'all will, and we focus on that point on tomorrow. Now he that ascended, what is it? But he also descended first into the lower parts of the Arats. He that descended in the same also ascended up far above all Shamahim, that he might fill all things. And he gave some apostles, and some prophets, and some evangelists, and some pastors, and teachers, for the perfecting of the Kadeshim, for the healing of the people, for the completion of the people. Now I know that Greek word right there ain't going to be healing. I'll pull the Greek word up for it. But we were just using that as a framework of what we had just already read. But the Greek word for this particular spot, I will not be able to find. Complete furnishing or equipping. Basically, to make you equipped. That the apostles, the prophets, the evangelists, the pastors, and the teachers were to equip the people. He told them that to do the work to perfect them or to heal the people. To equip the people would be the same as to heal the people. You know, Kadeshim is his sanctified ones. Call my sanctified ones which have made a covenant with me by sacrifice. You're entering into a covenant, as we already read in Hebrews chapter 7. You're entering into a covenant with this man by sacrifice. That's what you see with the people offering up their money, the sacrifice. Don't get stuck on the fact that, and also looking at, don't let nobody tell you that no offering or nothing of Yahuwah was not with money, because you've seen them do it, and then you're going to see it all in the law repeatedly, and you're going to wonder how these dudes overlook that. And we're mentioning that for edification purposes. Because you need to know that. You need to understand that. What's written and how it's done. Because y'all willing on tomorrow, that's what you're going to see. There was literally a building fund. Because that's what you see they were offering. They were offering money to fix the house. And when you pick at Christian churches and you laugh at them, I doubt most of them are doing that because that's what's contained in the word. Maybe they are, maybe they're not. I don't know. But you see the basis for it. And we'll go into it a little bit more. Y'all will on tomorrow. But it's a purpose of knowing your God, knowing his ways, understanding. Not just, sometimes you don't need to be reading just for I need something to comfort me or strengthen me. Not saying that you shouldn't do that. Because sometimes you pop open a book and you want to read something that's going to help you on whatever you might be going through at that particular time. But sometimes you need to be reading for the purpose of edification or learning. Seeking out to read parts of the word that you wouldn't normally read to familiarize yourself with certain information. So that you can be able to ask an educated question. Or so that if he direct us to go into a particular topic, that you would already have a basis of what's written there, so it's not seen, so it doesn't seem foreign to you. You know what I'm saying? All right, that go for him. That's why we've been doing that reading. Shoot, it seemed like it's been a year, but I doubt it's been a year. It seemed like it though. But for the purpose of to make you read the book, whether y'all read it or not, I don't know. But the purpose of it is for you to make you read the book. On your own. Say, for the protecting of the Kadeshim, for the work of the ministry, for the edifying of the body of Mashiach, till we all come in the unity of the faith and the knowledge of the Son of Elohim unto a perfect man, unto the measure of the full stature of the fullness of Mashiach. He said till we come up to that perfect man. Now, let me get that word for perfect man here. You want to be perfect. You want to be complete. You want to be whole. You want to be healed. You know, because I was just talking to somebody about this last weekend. Well, the beginning of the week, actually, because that was Sunday, day one. Hold on. Perfect in the Hebrew thought is not the same as perfect in English or Western thought or Caucasian thought. Perfect in this particular verse is consummate human integrity, virtue of men, wanting nothing necessary to completeness, brought to its end or finish, or labor or growth, or mental or moral character. So it's a realm of your thinking, your maturation. That's why Paul say, I'm not seeking, like I said, until you become complete. Because to be perfect is about being whole, to being healed, to being complete, or being mature, or being just. And you need to separate perfect from being sinful and then just the natural flaws that people have as human beings that have nothing to do with sin. That you're just a person. You know what I'm saying? You have to separate those two things. We have the concept of Western civilization as being perfect, meaning there's absolutely nothing wrong with you, period, in any aspect of life at all. When as forth as the scriptures are concerned, perfect is being complete, whole, mature, spiritually, being just, being void of iniquity. These are what these things are pointing to. Because you're going to may have issues as a person that you're just going to learn and grow through that have nothing to do with your sinning or contrary to the word. So you have to learn to separate the two. Because you could be walking just and uprightly, but then you have something that's forth as a natural thing that you need to master that has nothing to do with sin. Because everything in the aspect of your life is not necessarily sin. Because as somebody told me the other day, nigga told them that when you wake up in the morning, that's sin. So that means everybody going to hell. Can't nobody be saved at that point. That got to be the dumbest thing I've ever heard. As forth as the word is concerned. You're sinning. So you mean to tell me Yah is going to damn people for having mercy on them, for keeping them alive? That's what a nigga just told you. Nigga say all your thoughts are sin. So if my thoughts are the word, are my thoughts sin? Because the book say he keep them in perfect shalom who mind is stayed on thee because he trusts in thee. So I'm sinning if my thoughts are Yahuwah. He say bring every thought into captivity of Mashiach. Is that a sin? Are you serious? But you know the word part is, those people take that information to people who don't know no better and they believe it. That's the word part. I wouldn't even want to serve a God that said that I'm sinning because I woke up in the morning. Why am I thanking him for? So I'm waking up in the morning thanking him for sin. Thank you for waking me up this morning. I know it's sin. Thank you for sin. When you put, sometimes you have to really sit back and actually put it in the actual framework of you doing that actual activity and speak, and you can see how dumb that sounds. When they tell it to you right there on the spot, it don't necessarily. It may not hit you till hours later, a few days later, because you might not think about it right then and there on the spot, because you may be so flabbergasted. You might be so flabbergasted that they said this to you, like this nigga really said this to me. Because I would be so stuck that a nigga told me I'm sinning if I wake up in the morning. I may not even know how to respond to that other than to slam the door in their face. Because I know this nigga stupid. Don't you never come back around here. That we henceforth be no more children tossed to and fro and carried about with every wind of doctrine by the sleight of men and cunning craftiness, whereby they lay in wait to deceive. So hallelujah for Yahushua and the word. We stop right there though. But